Count the cost before you get married. My name is Olusegun Mokuolu, and you are welcome to the Christian Singles podcast. And today I'm sharing about the cost of marriage. Jesus Christ said in his word, "Which one of you want to build a house will not sit down first and count the cost?" Essentially, Jesus was saying you need to know what you require to build a house so that before you even start, you are sure that you can finish. Unfortunately, many go into marriage today without counting the cost. They don't know whether they have what it takes to finish well in marriage. So they just rush into it, and oftentimes they are rushed out of it. Many marry because of the excitement of marriage. All they are thinking of is taking wedding photos, sharing wedding photos, all the romantic side of marriage, having sex, having somebody they call their own. All of that are not even the issues that matter in marriage. So you need to know, you need to be sure that you understand the cost of marriage. Marriage has a romantic side and responsibility side. Many look at the romantic side, but they don't look at the responsibility side. One of the signs that you do not understand the cost of marriage is anxiety, or being anxious to get married, being in a hurry to get married. Anybody who is in a hurry to get married doesn't understand marriage. Just imagine, for example, you are going to a war. You know a lot of people have died. Millions have been killed. Now you are being mobilized to go to war. How do you feel? Do you begin to jump up and down and begin to sing and enjoy yourself and look forward to the war? No, you are sober. You are sober, you are thinking, you are praying. How am I going to cope with this war? How will I fight on the war front? Will I not be killed? All of those thoughts will come to your heart. It will make you sober. That's what happens when you know the cost of a thing. Let me share a few things with you. There are many things marriage will cost you, and we can't even cover it in a message like this. You yourself need to even sit down to look at it, because some of the cost of marriage will be personal. They will not even be things that another person can know. They will be personal to you. But I want to share with you in a general sense some of the things that marriage will cost you, so that you can know what you are stepping into. Marriage will cost you your privacy. It will cost you your privacy. You can no longer say that, well, this is me, this is my own side. No, starting with the privacy of your body. You have grown up keeping your body. The opposite sex doesn't see your body. Well, at least in a normal situation, you are expected to have kept yourself. I know that there are people who had messed up greatly, and there's really nothing they are looking forward to on their wedding day, because everything had probably been done. But there are quite a number of people who still keep themselves. But for whatever it may, the fact remains that marriage is going to invade your privacy. You can't marry and have privacy. So if you cherish your privacy, the marriage is not for you. You can't get married and say, well, my social media is a no-go area. I want privacy in that area. No, you can't have such privacy. You can't be passwording your phone for your spouse. Those kind of privacy, they are no longer available in marriage. You have become one. You have to share it. You have to share things with each other. You can't have financial privacy. You can't say, this is my money, this is your money. There is nothing like this is my money in kingdom marriage. It belongs to the two of you. So if you know you love money and you will not share your money with your spouse, you can't earn money for another person to spend it. Don't get married. For example, if as a man you are earning 500,000 monthly and your wife is earning 10,000 naira monthly, what that means is that you both have 510,000 naira monthly. It belongs to the two of you. You can't say, well, you are the one who made the money, so you are the one that's going to spend it on yourself. That's not how marriage works. That money belongs to that woman as much as it belongs to you. If it is the other way around, that as a woman, you are earning 1 million naira or $1 million a month, and the man is earning, let's say, $10 a month, the money belongs to the two of you. He has access to it. You can't say, well, I'm a woman, this is my money, we are just going to spend this your own money. It doesn't work like that in kingdom marriage. It belongs to the two of you. So if you know you cannot share your resources, then it is better for you not to marry. You may even have a situation where your spouse doesn't have a job. What do you do? Whatever you earn belongs to the two of you. You cannot have that kind of privacy. So it's going to, marriage will invade your privacy. It's going to also affect your attachment to family in particular. You will have to detach, not just physically from your family, mentally, socially. You have to detach from your family. The Bible says that for this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife. If you know that your mother is more important to you than your wife, don't get married. Then stay with your mother for the rest of your life. Your spouse becomes your priority. If you know that your father is more important than your husband, please don't get married. Stay off marriage. Marriage is not for somebody like you. You have to look at this cost. You can't say, well, this is how they do it in my father's house. It is no longer your father's house. This is now your own house. This is now your own family. So you have to detach. Marriage will cost you that. You will not be able to relate with your siblings the way you were relating before you get married. That is the reality of marriage. That doesn't mean you won't talk to your siblings, but you can't just wake up and say, I want to go and see my sister. I want to go and see my brother. I want to go and see this. You are married. You can't live the way you lived before you got married. You can't live that way in marriage. The way you see and travel and so on and say, I just want to go and spend time with my sister. You can't do that when you are married. If you're a woman, you will have to take permission from your husband that I would love to visit my sister at so time. It has to be planned in a way that will not affect your marriage. It has to be very short for some few days. Except maybe there are other serious issues that we will need to attend to. But the basic thing is that you will have to be detached. It cannot be business as usual. Marriage will also cost you your job, or should I say may cost you your job. For example, if you are a lady, you have been working and you are working in a state, and then your husband is working in another state, and then you get married. You cannot be going from one state to another to attend to your job. You may have to resign your job and join your husband. So it could clearly cost you your job. And it could even be the other way around, that the man may lose his job because of marriage. I've even seen situations where people working in the same company, one has to resign because they are getting married. Company policy is that you can't be working in this company and marry somebody in the same company. You need to be prepared for all those kind of eventualities and actually discuss with your spouse. If this is the situation, what are we going to do? I've seen situations where some women left their job, left their location, had to relocate to meet with their spouse. But because they now don't have financial resource, their husband began to maltreat them and make her to suffer terribly. There are men like that. So you need to define things before you go into marriage. Don't just get carried away. Somebody that cannot play with his money now, you want to resign your job in order to marry him. What do you think will happen when you get married to such a person? So you've got to be careful. You have to know that you know what you are doing. When I got married, my wife wasn't working. So, but we had settled all of this because we were already practicing one account principle even before we got married. So it wasn't a problem for us. But I know that there are men that money is more important to them than human life. They are not going to play with their money. You are not going to see them. Don't marry a man like that. That kind of a man does not understand the principles of the kingdom. So it could cost you that. One of the cost in marriage is in-law. You have to deal with in-law. The best way to deal with in-laws is one, for the two of you to be one. If the two of you are divided on how you relate with your in-laws, you will have problem. Secondly, you must know that your spouse parent, they become your parent by covenant. So when the scripture says children obey your parent, it includes your in-laws. You must also obey them because they have become your parent, and he put a blessing there that your days may be long so that you can enjoy your marriage long. You must treat your in-laws with respect. It's not every in-law that will be understanding. Some people can be complete nuisance. Yet you have to deal with it. You have to figure out all of these things. You have to factor it in. You don't just sit down and you are dreaming of wedding night, sex, pictures, romance, and everything. You have to ask yourself, how am I going to relate with this mother-in-law? How am I going to relate with this father-in-law? What is going to be our principle? I've seen situations where the issue of in-law will cause great problem in marriage. For example, if you insist that whatever he's done to one's parent must be the same thing that must done to another parent, you may create conflict because the two parents have different conditions. So you have to be wise to know how to relate with each side of the coin uniquely. All of this wisdom you must build in your life. So you must count the cost. As a woman, your body will be affected. As a man, in later years, your body will be affected. Whether you like it or not, that is the truth. So you must know all of these things. Don't think you are just going to be young, strong, that you will just be having sex all the time. No. And just like it's good I even mentioned this. Marriage will cost you sex. And it will cost you sex in different ways. As a man, there are times you will need to have sex with your wife that you don't feel like having sex. As a woman, there are times you will have sex with your husband that you don't feel like having sex. Initially sex may feel great. But after a while, when you discover that your time of desire begins to vary as you grow in marriage, it may look like work to you because you don't want to defraud your partner. The scripture says, defraud not ye one another. So there are times A will want sex that B doesn't want sex. You have to balance all of that. It's going to cost you. Don't think you are just going to enjoy sex. That sex is just going to be great and great and great. It is not going to be so. It's not going to be so. And sex in marriage has consequence. You're going to get pregnant from it. When you get pregnant, you have to go through pregnancy. Go through the pain of pregnancy. You have to start visiting hospital. As the husband, you have to start taking your wife to clinic. So if you are the type you are feeling, oh no, I don't have the time. When you know you won't have time to take her for antenatal, why did you get her pregnant? When you were having sex, what were you expecting? Were you expecting that it was going to turn to money? You don't know it will turn to baby, and you don't know pregnancy has consequence. You must be prepared for this. Are you prepared for pregnancy? You know, when my wife was in the hospital, they would just tell me this is what we need. My wife was already there. She wants to give birth. So I have whatever they need. I just have to magically produce it. Anything they need, I have to produce it. That is the cost of marriage. That was why on my wedding day, if anybody noticed, I wasn't happy the way people say they get happy on their wedding day. Some will say their happiest day is their wedding day. Far from it. My wedding day wasn't close to my happiest day at all. It's not even among top 100. Do you know why? My heart was focused on the cost of marriage. I was looking at the responsibility that God is placing a life in my hand. And he's saying, you must love her as I love the church. I was thinking of what will happen when I have a child. And when I had my child too, in the hospital, people who were there can testify. There was nothing joyful with me. Well, I was glad that my wife had a safe delivery, but I was overwhelmed with the responsibility of training a child. You know, many people don't understand what it means to train a child. So they are so excited just giving birth. That's why people give birth. If people understand what it means to train a child, the way God demands, they will not be having children the way they are doing. It's a great responsibility that God is trusting a life in my hand, and God is coming to ask for that life. And when he comes, he's not asking for a doctor, for a lawyer, for a pharmacist, for an engineer, for a tailor. He's asking for a godly seed. Have you raised this child for me in the way of the Lord? Like he lent Jesus to Mary to raise for him. And when it was time, he came to ask for Jesus. So when you understand this, you will be sober. So sex is going to cost you in marriage. It's going to cost you a lot of things. Then you will the issue of family planning will come in. You know, many don't give thought to some of these things. And then you are like, I don't want to grow big. Oh, this family planning. I know a family that they just keep having children in the world we live today. So one day I was privileged to be in the car with a man, and I couldn't just take it. And so I just asked him, sir, why were you having children like this? And he said the wife doesn't believe in family planning. I was shocked. An educated man, a director, having children just like that. Almost every 1 year or 2 years, they just keep having children. I'm wondering how he's going to cope. Before you know it, those children will go wayward because they will have needs that they can't meet. And they will have to seek it elsewhere. So it will cost you. You need to ask yourself, are you ready for all of that? Are you ready to be on family planning? If your wife says, okay, no, I don't want family planning, we will just be controlling it. We will have to do withdrawal method. As a man, are you ready for that? If you know you are not ready, there's no point the two of you going into marriage. You see, that's why there are many things to discuss before you get married. But many people don't discuss anything. All you are thinking of he has not texted me, he lost me this morning. You think that is the kind of conversation you should be having before you get married? There are serious issues. You need to sit down and say, are we really ready for this thing? Your body will change as a woman. All the breasts that you think is firm could suddenly go bam, they are down. Within a year, the whole thing is down. What are you going to do? As a man, if your wife's breast sags, what are you going to do? If her body changes, you say, oh, I want a slim woman. Okay, you have gone for a slim woman. Then all of a sudden she gets pregnant and boom. Like I experienced some time with a lady. This lady, when I knew her, she's so slim. When you are looking for example of a slim woman, that is the lady you use. Then I traveled, and when I returned back, I left the state. I was in another state for some years. When I came back, she had married. She now has children. When I saw her, this is somebody I'm older than. I didn't know how to address her again. She looks like Yokozuna. She became so big. I've never seen that kind of transformation before, from being so slim to becoming extremely big. If the husband is somebody that is not wise, they will have problem. If he's not prepared for that, they will have problem. You must have it at the back of your mind that your love has nothing to do with this flesh. Anything can happen to the flesh. If a very beautiful or handsome man can change overnight, sickness can change the whole configuration. I once had to live with an uncle who had HIV or AIDS. Very handsome. He used to be in the Navy. Tall, handsome, well-dressed. But in his final moment, I was there with him. Everything had changed. Everything. He looked, eventually he died. You see, anything can happen. Things can change. So if all you are basing your decision on is this physical look, my dear brothers and sisters, it's not so in marriage. I'm sure you yourself, you've seen many people. Some of you are asking yourself, how did dad marry this, my mother? Or how did my mother marry this man? Look at the way he looks. You can't understand it. Things changes. How about childbirth? What happens if you get married 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you don't have a baby? What will you do? Many people don't give a thought to this. Before I married my wife, I told her, if we don't have a child in this marriage, it will not matter to me. The child does not define marriage. Marriage is a covenant. A child is a reward. If God does not give me the reward, I will not be unhappy. We will live happily as husband and wife. I had settled it in my heart that not having a child in life will not be a problem for me. I had settled it. As God will have it, my wife took in by the grace of God the very month we got wedded. So 9 months exactly, she gave birth. In fact, I was like, why can't you delay this thing? I hope people will not think that maybe you had gotten pregnant before before marriage. That just 9 months on the dot. Anyway, so what about personal hygiene? What about personal hygiene? There are things now that you are seeing some people from afar. They look handsome. They look beautiful from afar. When you get close, some of the people that you see that they dress, they look good, they look fine. He could be a brother that doesn't brush his teeth regularly and have smelling mouth. It could be somebody like that. It could be someone who doesn't know how to take care of his shoe, who doesn't know how to take care of his clothes. He could have with body odor. What do you do? Some of the sisters you are seeing that are shining, they don't know how to take care of their parts. Some will just put it carelessly. And as a man, you don't like things like that. You want everything neat and so on. But here is a sister that will just soak pants in the bathroom for weeks. Or that the house will be dirty for weeks. It will cost you things like that. So you've got to be ready. You've got to be prepared. You've got to know that you can face things like this and settle it in your heart. Can you cope? I heard of the story of a man. I know the man personally and the woman who drove his wife out of the house. You know why? He said he gave 2 reasons. He said his wife fat. His wife fat. When you release gas. He said he doesn't like that. He said number 2, he will wake up and see blood on their bed. They've been separated now or divorced for how many years now? I'm sure close over 20 years. the man gave only 2 reasons for that divorce. He can't stand the wife farting, and he can't stand seeing blood on the bed. Can you imagine that? Such a man, he didn't sit down to think before he got married. Will someone not fart? Even if you go to the hospital and if you have to do surgery, one of the things they look forward to is for you to fart. I've gone through it, I know it. They were waiting for me to fart. As soon as I fart, they said, good. It means this thing is successful. Fat became precious. How? So all of these things, you need to factor them in. How are you going to cope if you are the type that you are simply dirty? Your parents have been warning you, a woman doesn't do like this, a woman doesn't do like this. You will not listen. It may cause you serious problem in marriage. Serious problem. There are also people who are over neat. Somebody like me, I can't live with somebody who is extremely neat, who doesn't just give room for some mistakes here and there. There are people that everything must be 100% perfect, smelling nice, everything well arranged. You must not even make mistake one day of putting your shoe where you ought not to put it. Someone like that, if you know that you want to marry and your spouse to be is like that, you don't marry that person if you are not ready for that kind of a lifestyle. I can't marry somebody like that, for example, because I don't want, as much as I love to be neat and so on, I don't want to put myself under pressure as if neatness in itself is my God. You have to count all of these things. Marriage will cost you communication. Some of you don't know how to talk. You just prefer to keep quiet and hold things and keep quiet. In marriage, you must talk. Except you want to destroy that marriage. You must learn to open up. You can't say, well, my own attitude is that I don't talk. You must talk. Like I do say, you can't tell Jesus, I'm an introvert, so I cannot preach the gospel. God didn't create anybody to be introvert or extrovert. Those are satanic doctrines from the pit of hell. How can somebody wake up and categorize human beings into two and say introvert and extrovert? The Bible says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Doesn't matter who you are. Moses was a stammerer. God used him greatly. So our life has nothing to do with being introvert or extrovert. We do what we ought to do. You can't say I'm introvert or I'm extrovert. You must learn to communicate in marriage. Your spouse will demand explanation. You can't say, no, I'm not ready for talk. You must be ready to talk. If you want to marry, you must be ready. In marriage, you are not going to be holding each other and be kissing each other every day. You are so beautiful. You know, I so much love you. No, you will be frank with each other. There are days you will sit each other down and be frank with each other and say, see, what you are doing, honey, is not right. This is foolishness. And you must be prepared to hear the truth. And that doesn't mean anything is wrong with the marriage, or that doesn't mean the person doesn't love you. Jesus said, whom I love, I chastise. Love is frank. Love is honest. Love is not flattery. Marriage will cost you your selfishness. You can't be selfish and marry. You know, every human being is born to be selfish. It is only in Christ Jesus that we are delivered. If you are not yet delivered from selfishness, don't go into marriage. In marriage, you must be thinking of the other person. Why do we have problem in marriage? Because men are selfish. People just think of themselves. They do not think of the other person. Jesus said, do unto others, not what they do to you, what you want them to do unto you. It will cost you selfishness. You will have to sacrifice for the other person. You may go hungry so that the other person could eat. You may have to deny yourself wearing clothes so that the other person can have clothes to wear. That is what marriage does. It will cost you. Raising children. You know, when I hear women saying, this child, your trouble is too much. I'm like, when you were asking God to give you a child, what were you expecting? You think God was going to give you a baby doll? This is what it means. You are going to labor. You are going to breastfeed at night and not sleep. You will have problem with sleep. And you must be prepared for that. Children will be children. You must be ready to run around. You must be ready to change diapers. You must be ready to clean up. You must be ready to correct, to train. You see, many people were not prepared for this. So they just leave the children to just grow up the way they like. And they have become vagabond in the society. That's why many young women become loose. They didn't grow up with any value. They don't understand the value of their body. They don't understand value in life. Once somebody comes and says, I love you, she opens her leg. Once somebody buys Coca-Cola and chicken, she opens her leg. No value, nothing. Because they didn't grow up in homes that they show them proper love of Christ, where they are truly raised in the fear of the Lord. So what do you expect? Jesus absent in any life, that life is potentially a tool in the hand of the devil. You must be ready to provide, to train, to care for your children. Marriage will also cost you care for your spouse. Care for your spouse. As a man, I pray your wife will not fall sick. What happens if she falls sick and you have to be the one to stay by her bedside? And you must patiently stay because you don't know when you are going to leave that place. Marriage can cost you that. As a woman, you have to take care. You have to provide. You have to do this. You have to do that, You know, at times I just wonder how my wife copes. Even me, the man, I'm wondering because I feel like I can't do what this woman is doing. Prepares meal all the time, every day. I stayed long before I'm married, so I know what it means to cook every day and to cook 3 times a day. In fact, I don't even do it. At best, I will cook only once. She can't say she will just cook only once. She takes care of my clothes, she takes care of the house, and at times I just wonder how she does all these things. And my wife, she's the type that if I even want to do some of those things, she says she can do it. But I'm always available, because I always believe these are my own responsibilities. She's just a helpmate, but she does it graciously. I wonder how she copes. The daughter would need something, she will wake up, she will still attend to her daughter. I just wonder how she copes. Recently I was saying to her, I said, when we discuss at family fellowships, the brothers usually share about how they bathe their children and so on. And I'm like, I've never bathed my own child before. My wife has always been the one doing it. And not because I said no, I said you must do it. No. She just feels there's really no need. She can do it. She does it happily. If she had not prepared her mind for that, or if I had not also prepared my mind and I have to be doing it, I can't complain. I have to do it. So the care of your spouse is there. I pray your spouse will not fall sick. That's when you will know whether you truly love. The liability of your spouse will become your own liability also. Do you realize that? If your spouse is indebted, once you marry that person, you both become indebted. You both become indebted. All the liability in his or her life becomes your own liability also. Are you ready for that? Marriage will cost you your freedom. It will cost you your freedom. You can't go where you like. You can't do what you like when you like it. That is the reality. You have to consider many things before making decisions. If it was when I was single, I can simply say, well, I want to go to another state and just stay with my brother for 2 weeks. I can't do that now. You have to consider your family first. Your family must come first. So if you are looking for freedom, No. There is a kind of freedom that marriage gives you. It's different from the one you experience as a single person. Do you know that there are men that are not prepared for this? I've heard of men that got divorced, or some completely just got tired as soon as they got married. You know why? They didn't prepare for the marriage life. You know, when they were cutting, it was easy for them. Maybe they were even sleeping around. You know, there was no consequence. When you sleep with her, it doesn't cost anything. They know how to prevent pregnancy. You know, they text each other and so on. But suddenly they get married. Children started coming. Bills has to be paid. And bills will be coming. Your wife will not be waking up every morning and be saying, oh, you are sweet, you are sweet, you are sweet. If there is no gas, honey, there is no gas in this house. And we have to cook. And so when they suddenly found that, wow, is this what marriage is about? They just got choked up. They couldn't cope. And then some will now start looking for a strange woman outside that they can sleep with, that it won't cost them anything. So they start going to that place and spend time there. They didn't count the cost of marriage. Of course, they also don't know the Lord, because a man that knows the Lord will not do that. But people do that because they are not prepared for that life. They just had a romantic idea of marriage, only to get into it and discover that marriage is serious responsibility. Bills has to be paid in marriage. You know, it will cost you your friendship. You cannot be friends to people the way you used to be friends to them. That is the truth. We are not saying that you won't have friends, but it can't just be like it used to be. The earlier you realize that, the better. It will cost you your assembly. Some of you are so used to your church. Particularly sisters, you have to join who? Your husband. You have to go to one place. If you know you cannot go to where he's worshiping currently, it's better you don't marry him. Otherwise, you will live frustrated in that place for the rest of your life. It will cost you values, preferences. I love to sleep with light off. My wife prefers to sleep with light on. We have to find a balance. And I don't want divided house. I don't want divided room. So we have to find a balance. Your spouse may prefer his food in a different way from the way you've always known it. You have to be ready to adjust. Many things will change. Marriage is hard work. As in physically, it is hard work. You know, it's possible for you as a single person. Maybe you are just staying in one room. You can wake up, you on a weekend, you may not get up from bed till 12. And when you wake up, you pick your phone. You chat, you talk, you do all kinds of things. You can't do that in marriage. There are work to be done. You have to wake up and be responsible. Then there are many unexpected. Prepare for unexpected. If you are going into marriage, prepare for unexpected, because that it's like going to war. You will be having many unexpected things. But the good news is this: if you sit down and count the cost, the Bible says you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. It said, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. He who has begun the good work in you, he will perform it. God who created marriage makes grace available. In the end, the goal of marriage is for you to achieve the purpose of God. That's the goal of marriage. That's why it is work. So when God created marriage in Genesis, he created a man to do a work and gave him a woman to help him. You see that marriage is work. Now you understand. It is work. God created it as a work. But you see, it's a work that will please God, and for which God in the end will reward you. So you have to be prepared for marriage. And that's why I want to introduce to you our free marriage course. One of the modules there is titled The Cost of Marriage, where we explain this in details with scriptural references for you to understand what marriage will cost you. I will implore you to take that course. If you want to take it, it's free. All you need to do is to write to BibleLoveHelper@gmail.com. When you write request for the enrollment form, tell us that you are single, and then we will send you that form, and then you can start the course. You do it at your own pace. It's by email. Okay, all you need is email. It's not done through physical class, so you can lie down on your bed and take the course. If you want to be receiving this podcast regularly, all you need to do is to write me on WhatsApp and tell me your full name, please, full name and marital status. Let me know whether you are single or married so that we can add you to the appropriate broadcast list. Now the number is +234 818 615 7852. You can use the same number to reach me, ask me question, contact me. Please feel very much free to interact with me. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, the contact details, they are available in the description below. Please remember to share this message with other believers, and you may want to consider subscribing to the channel. Also, for those of you who are listening by podcast or on WhatsApp, remember also to share this message with other Christian singles so that together God can prepare us for marriage. I have this message titled "Preparing for Marriage." It's almost 6 hours. It's available on YouTube. You may want to download it and use it at your seminars and so on. It's a 13 series part. It's a complete series that I did on preparing for marriage, by explaining the foundation of marriage, how to choose, the cost of marriage. Almost everything you need to know about getting married is explained in that 6 hours video. It's available on my YouTube channel. You can request for the link if you want, but it will be good if you download it and take time to listen to it gradually. If you can't listen at once, you may listen 30 minutes a day, or maybe just have young fellowship groups where you can listen to it in series like that. It will really help. It's a 13-part series that I did on radio station, and it can be very, very helpful. Please take advantage of all of this. Get books to read, ask questions, develop yourself, discuss things. If you are in courtship, discuss serious matters. Okay, spend time to ask questions, have clarity, be sure that the two of you know where you are going and you are going in the same direction, and you are not disadvantaged from day one. Be very sure. My prayer is that God will give you wisdom, God will guide you, He will give you help, you will marry right. Your marriage will be an example in your family. Your marriage will glorify Christ. Ultimately, your marriage will bring glory to the name of our Lord Jesus Christ on the face of the earth. My name once again is Olusegun Mokuolu. Thank you and God bless you.